Hello everybody and welcome back to another standard spoiler season video here at Collector Legion. I'm Hunter, this is Eli, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We are talking about not specific cards in standard, but because we already have a couple of results here, we're going to call this the Standard Symposium, and we're going to talk about what Eli thinks he should be playing in standard and just, the state of standard as it goes. So Eli, seeing that the evil of Throne of Eldraine just rotated, what do you think is the best deck in standard right now?
Well, there's only one thing that's for sure, and that's green is the place to be. We've seen in these first two standard challenges for Magic Online, there is green-red decks that are kind of based around the Jespera Sentinel Magnet interaction that we've seen in the past, where it gets you off to a really nice start. We've seen a more werewolf base. There's a Lord. There's Tolivar, which is like a Biden of Thassa coastal piracy for werewolves, and just more of like a sort of tribal creature deck, but still playing the good cards. You got Arlencourt in there as well. It's a pretty powerful card. Kind of Gideon Allies Zendikar-esque.
There's another Gideon Allies Zendikar card.
Yeah, the common. The mono green as well being the third deck, but the common time between werewolves, red green, and mono green is a Seeker's Chariot, and I think that's going to be the defining card for the foreseeable future. You just get even if you get a good deal out of the gate, and then the tempo swing of actually getting into hits with it is so big. We were discussing earlier. Gideon Allies Zendikar, you had to pick whether you want to make a 2/2 or attack them with your Gideon, and with the Seeker's Chariot, you just do both. You target the token, It's just pretty brutal.
So, with the Seeker's Chariot, you also have the new 5-mana Planeswalker, Ren and 7, not $70 though, but Ren and 7, making Tree Folk, so you do get to go turn 4, Chariot, turn 5, Ren and 7, folk. Make a token, make another token. It seems like a pretty nasty combo you've got going there. So we've seen mono green decks, we've seen green red, we've seen green white, how we've even seen green blue, but that's more like a combo deck. But outside of those green cards, because the green cards are obviously very powerful, that combination of Chariot and Ren and 7, and then some of the other red cards in the deck is very powerful. But is there anything else that you can see that you would recommend for people to be playing in standard?
Yeah, I think that the issue is that the combination of Magda and Jespera Sentinel, and then the combination of Ren and 7 plus Chariot is just so blatantly powerful that it's going to take a while for people to kind of explore the other viable strategies. I think as far as places you could go, I think zombies with although I really didn't like the card when it first came out, but Champion of the Perished is a pretty good one-drop, and then you have a Savannah Lines from the D&D set. You have the dragon from the D&D set. You have the Adversary that makes a ton of tokens, and that's pretty good with Champion of the Perished. So, the card that I did want to talk about, as far as the color black goes, is Jadar, Ghoul-Caller of Nephalia. You just make a zombie basically every turn, because the 2/2 it makes, you can kill it because it has Decayed. Which is actually upside with this thing, since if you don't have one, it'll make a new one. So you just keep getting death triggers, you keep getting zombie into the battlefield triggers, sacrifice fodder. I think there's a lot of synergies you can do with that card. And whether that's in a blue-black shell with the uncommon Zombie Lord and Champion of the Perished, or maybe just more of a straight red-black with, like, we don't have Claim the Firstborn anymore, but maybe something more red-black sacrifice-based. I think there's some space to explore there. The color white we've also seen, I believe, in the Hooglandia opening was having success.
Saw a green-white deck in first place, and then a white-black deck in second place, I believe. And the second place deck was going to win the tournament, but they ran out of time, so
an honorary.
Yeah, it's like a tie for first place at that point. So speaking of that, we've talked about green, we've talked about black, we've talked about red, but are there any white cards that you see that could really shake up standard from this set, or from sets in the past that could come back and change the landscape here?
Well, you still have Skyclave Apparition and a Luminarch Aspirant. There's a lot of good white cards in Zendikar, but the newer white cards, other than as a support color for black, I'm struggling to see where they're going to fit in. Maybe with a Felidar Retreat as a supplement to the powerful green cards, but white is one color where I don't really see what direction it's going to go in.
So you don't think that you're going to have very many, like, base white decks? They're more going to be like a secondary support color to whatever your main strategy is.
You have the Lisa, the Forgotten Archangel, is a nice support card for like black based sacrifice decks, and then obviously white can go wide to kind of fuel those effects as well. You have you have Felidar Retreat plus Red and 7 to get a bunch of landfall triggers. It's a green white landfall. But it's not really like, I don't think there's not really enough cheap creatures yet to be for a white aggressive deck to be a viable option. I don't think it's definitely a support color.
So with the change from Throne of Eldraine really strangling Standard with the Adventurers and the Edgewall Innkeeper decks, the stomping, and then you not being able to play anything with 1 to 4 toughness because of Bonecrusher Giants, both halves of it. What do you think the difference is going to be between this Standard and Standards of the past? Because it does seem like there is a very distinct change going on between these two rotations, basically.
Yeah, I think that obviously, I think the biggest power vacuum to fill is going to be those adventure creatures, obviously. But the way that's going to play out is that you don't need to pass the stomp test anymore. So you can play cards like Magda, Skyclave Apparition, get a lot better. Creatures that incentivize the creatures that are kind of they don't cost 1 and they still die to stomp, but they were powerful enough to see play in the previous format, so they're going to be even better now. And then a card like Frog Hemoth, which runs fucking smack first, and Lovestrike Beast. Yeah,
Question Beast is also gone.
Might be able to get away with that one. Frog Hemoth's kind of filling that role.
Yeah,
a little bit more expensive, but maybe I don't know how to say this, but a little bit more staying power even than the Questing Beast. But and then Brazen Bar were also, I saw the saga that makes the Black-White saga that makes an Aidendal token.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get blown out by that sort of effect anymore. And Red and 7 we see putting gigantic tokens into play maybe.
So your tokens are safe for now. So circling back to just, we know that green is good. We know that there's some sort of black-based deck that is probably good. Have you seen any sort of like control deck? Because I know there's definitely going to be people watching this that are going to want to play control.
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of people talking, and it's not going to be like that classic blue-white sort of hold up your stuff control type of deck. I think it's going to be more of like a tap out, like a white-black control deck or a board-based control deck. What do you think?
There's a couple playable cards from the D&D set. There's Power Word Kill, and there's it's got one of that name that's like you find the villain's lair.
Oh,
it's like counterspell, I believe.
Yeah,
I thought I got that right actually. But so those two cards are pretty solid interactive spells. I mean, they're not making any they're not making waves though. But I think Siphon Insight is maybe the key to blue-black. So it's a flashback spell. So it's kind of like a Think Twice, except that instead of drawing a card, you get to draw a card off of their deck.
Okay.
The top 2. So that's a pretty good source of the card advantage. It's not that expensive. It's just 2 and then 3, and lets you hold your mana up. Maybe that's the key. Still not really sure how you win the game though. You don't have Shark Typhoon. You don't have Ashiok.
Yeah.
Where's the Ugin? I believe is also gone, but I'm not sure. Like, who do you kill him with? Like,
yeah, that would be the thing to figure out for people out there. In a format where people are playing Chariot and giving it haste, I don't think you really want to be playing a control deck like that, especially a control deck that's trying to kill stuff with Doomblades. If you're trying to destroy all the permanents on the board, then you might have a thing there. But Hour of Revelation or whatever it is and Planar Cleansing, not legal. So you might have a little bit of trouble running into stuff like that. Finally, I just want to talk about the mana. So we have a bunch of lands that are legal. We have the Pathways. We have the new slow lands. We have the new reveal lands. So you have a lot of options for your 2-color decks. Is there a 2-color pairing that might be more advantageous to play because the mana is more aggressive, you would say? Or what about, and then after that, what about 3-color decks for people to be playing?
Well, the lands in Innistrad incentivize you towards playing a slower game plan, just because they're going to be coming on and play untapped on the later turns and not the early turns. So the blue-black one is going to be nice. The red-green decks are not will manage having their early turns not being the most smooth. It's just a one dual land cycle. But the slower decks are going to be benefiting more from those. The Strixhaven lands, those are rough. They're enemy colored as well, and we've seen more support for allied colors in Innistrad. You have like blue-black zombies, red-green werewolves. That's always been traditionally the Innistrad kind of
allied color pairs.
Yeah, the Innistrad type homelands.
Spirits.
So I'm not really. I think that the allied color decks are going to have a slightly better mana, just because it's just a higher quality land. And then as far as 3-color decks go, you might see a light touch into a third color, but like having to dip your toe into those Strixhaven lands, and then also having a bunch of like flip lands and slow lands makes the Strixhaven lands worse. So the Strixhaven lands really want you to play 2 colors. So maybe more in like the Grixis variety, where you can play blue, black, and black, red. So like the Shards of Alara type colors are going to be better off than having to rely on a Jeskai setup where you're mostly Strixhaven lands and then have to play a bunch of basics for those, and then it's just all sorts of mess.
So we'll finish up. We talked about the lands, we talked about the creatures, we talked about the best decks. My opinion is a little less accomplished than Eli's, but we'll give you both our picks for this weekend if you're playing any standard tournaments on Magic Online or if you're playing at your local store. Eli, what would you play this weekend if you had to play standard?
Well, you know that I love a good red-black sacrifice deck. I'm not sure if red is actually the color to be pairing for a sacrifice deck, so I would maybe try out that black-white Hooglandia deck.
And I would definitely play green-red because in a format where if you don't know a whole lot, turning your cards sideways and attacking people for 4 with a gigantic chariot is usually pretty damn good.
We going werewolves? We going just more of the powerful cards?
I think it would just be more of just the straight green-red aggro version because I don't want to have to deal with flipping my cards. It's just too much effort to take them out of the sleeve and put them in and keep track of that. Just attack them to death, everybody. So that'll do it from Eli and I to you guys. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel here at Collector Legion. Make sure you check out our website if you need any singles from Innistrad or any set in the past. And if you're in the local SoCal area, make sure you come down and play in some of their tournaments. They are having a 1K for Standard in October, in addition to a Team Trios tournament and Modern. So make sure you come on down to Collector Legion or check out collectorlegion.com. And that'll do it from Eli and I to you guys for now. Thanks for watching.